disasters that you find in the Panama Papers.
There's no normal about a pandemic because no one can actually properly plan for a pandemic, and especially in the creative industry, our jobs have been slashed.
I used to do paintings for people, but as from the pandemic, it's been less. I have been affected.
So it has not been easy. Like you say, it's my career, honestly. I don't do anything else. This is what I chose to do with my life.
The film industry has been terribly impacted by the Covid-19 because, as you know, making a film, you need a lot of people. But with those strict regulations and restrictions, since April, there weren't really many film production happen or taking place. And what that means, that translates into loss of employment, and millions of dollars also been lost because a lot of projects either cancelled or postponed to next year.
COVID was a very bad thing, but yet on the other hand, we welcomed its positivity. Positivity meant that people were pushed to go out of their comfort zones, embracing digital platforms.
It is never going to be the same. Regardless of us getting back to the normal that we had known before, theatre is also one of those art, the forms of art where human interaction is of utmost importance.
Yes, I understand. This year has been a very fullness throughout it. Yes, because we have been introduced to a new passport called face mask, an ideal body temperature, as well as the entrance of sanitizing. I said it only never.
In a time of crisis, it's mostly when people get at their most creative. So I think the creatives have done a good job in having their products showcased perhaps on different platforms, which you might not have otherwise had to, and think of ways to still be able to share their art forms if they're not live, that you can do it.
Post-COVID, you need filmmakers to produce promotional material, brand videos, but if you're not involved in a conversation now, I think that's just, I guess, to say that it's not too late to really bring the film industry, invite them at the table.
The Directorate of Arts and the Directorate of Culture and Heritage Programming came together to come up with a concept of putting together a Arts and Culture COVID-19 Relief Fund, which would actually embrace both sectors from the arts perspective and the cultural perspective.
I'm thinking as a collective, as an industry itself, without relying on the National Arts Council, we need to put in a thing with management on, especially when it comes to how we're going to make film, how do we produce them, and where do we get the money in time frames.
As a creative, as the Artist of the Year 2019 for the Namibian Annual Music Awards, I'm just challenging everyone that we do more international collaborations, that we find a way to channel money into our country so that people can buy our products, so that people can buy local and ship international.
I advise to all artists out there, so let this obstacle not be a major thing whereby it's a setback. So yeah, I advise each and every artist to go out there, go through the internet. That internet is one of the most powerful things. So yeah.
How are you making sure that your product is actually competitive? Because I've had a problem with people saying Namibia is a small country. It's a small country, but it does. The smallness is not a small in the talent. It's not a small in what they can put out. So if we can change our mindset ourselves and say, put out the product, export your thing.